All right, we're going live. How are you, Jocelyn?
I'm excellent, all things considered. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Where are you right now?
Portland, Oregon.
Are you downtown based or outside downtown?
Like right on the edge of what's still considered Portland, the southeast neighborhood, in a
Okay,
neighborhood called Woodstock.
very cool. I've only been there for half a day, I think.
In
But
Portland.
yeah, I want to get back. I want to get back. So this is going to be exciting. And as people join the live stream, what I'll say the things that I usually say. First of all, I understand that the user experience of Facebook with groups and videos is a little bit confusing. Hopefully, this will appear in your feed and you'll be able to find it easily. You can always Google, or sorry, not Google. You can always search within the group mental workout, and you can find this here. The video will stay up in the video tab. There is a lag. We're doing this in Zoom, so there's a 20 to 30-second lag, but we would love to see your comments. Feel free to work on paper with pen and provide comments or thoughts or questions. I'll pay attention to the comment thread so that Jocelyn can run the session, and I'll fetch any questions or thoughts from people for Jocelyn. Uh, Otherwise, we're going to get into it. Jocelyn, do you want to give a quick introduction to you and what you do?
Sure, it's that pretty much explains it. I was well. Here's one slide that has one lie on it. You can decide on which that is. House eaten by a volcano. My dad met Charlie Manson. I once slept on a beach with a pocket knife, and I'm addicted to Ritz crackers. I also am fairly obsessed with the brain, human behavior. I love language and how it affects thinking. And because of that, I run an agency, strategic storytelling agency called Scribe, and I have a certificate in brain based coaching.
Very, very cool. What's the as you get ready? What's the mood like in Portland right now? I know that there's a spreadsheet that's been doing the rounds of people looking for work, but I'm sure you know many of them. But like, what's the mood there right now within the industry?
Yeah, I think it's not great for a lot of create. I think this is one of the towns that somehow has been hardest hit from the creative standpoint. Amin on this call is part of an agency that's held it together really strong, but a lot of people we know are not so lucky. But generally, the atmosphere of Portland has been, I think, fairly positive. We're we're doing a good job of staying home, except for all the walks in the parks.
Yeah, that must feel conflicting to have that message to stay at home, and yet you've got such beautiful outdoor spaces there. One of the main reasons that a lot of people move to that area.
Yeah, it's right before they issued the quarantine. We could see the writing on the wall. Everybody went to the beach. It was as crowded as you'd see it on a really busy summer day. So
Mm-hmm.
that got the shutdown of beaches and parks.
Yeah. It's so humans are weird. It's like we're all this pandemic's coming. Let's all go get together in public one last time, right?
Yeah.
Because that like that's not going to help anything spread at all.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, it's all yours. Feel free to press play on the keynote and take it away. I'll be here for support. Like I said, I'll keep an eye on the comments and just looking forward to this session.
All right. We're getting into shift happens. How the hell do we deal with it? I talked about myself enough, I think. So this is all about mindset and change, right? It's perspective shifts. Everything's changing. We're in a time that so much information is unfolding and changing every single day, by the hour, by the second, and we're just constantly getting washed in it. So I think about people who particularly who think for a living, and what are we doing for our minds as all of this unprecedented change is coming. So as we would take a shower, if we're feeling physically dirty and gross, we should be looking to ways to give our minds a bath. So here's some ways to do that. I just want to start off, and we'll see how this works out with people answering live. But I'm really curious. I suspect that everybody here has had a moment where you changed your mind about COVID. I know I was super blasé about it. Well, great time to get cheap flights, and over the course of a few days, it was fascinating to see how I went from, oh, maybe this is something, to, oh my God, uh, everything's different. So I'd just like to hear from you and some people. Give you about a minute to respond.
I'm Jess, pronouns she, her, hers, and hi, Jocelyn.
Hi.
And I went through, it was the week before, second week of March. And I remember starting out the week relatively cavalier about how, with my health that I am lucky enough to have, I would not have a huge, I would not need to think about this too much. And then by the end of the week, I was like, everyone needs to stay home. This is not about me. And every day it amplified that message as well.
Yeah, no, for me it was 4 or 5 weeks ago now. I can't even remember. All the days do seem like they're the same day. And I was sick, and then there were like these rolling cancellations, but our school still hadn't cancelled. And I was like, I'm not sending the kids to school this week. And then school got called off. So I've been taking it seriously for a while. I did stand in a line at JFK just
Oof.
after Chinese New Year's for 2 hours, and there was so much coughing, but I didn't even think about coronavirus. But I just remember going, there's too much sickness here, and I'm standing here for 2 hours. It's horrible. So I was a bit off for a while, and then got sick.
Right.
I don't remember, Christian here, I don't remember the exact dates, but I know that the trigger was when I came back from traveling around Europe for a couple of days doing some speaker sessions. Then I got back and I was supposed to head up and see my dad, who's over 70, has a heart condition. And then it was in the news, and I was like, actually, I don't think I can do that. And I haven't actually been to see him now in the past month or so. It's almost been, I think, now.
Yeah, it's really strange to think of when somebody you know or you get sick yourself. Obviously, your mind will change pretty quickly. It's really emotionally heavy. And I have a similar situation where my dad's 75. He has a heart condition, pacemaker. He's had a stroke. He got diagnosed with asthma. And I'm thinking the worst thing I can do is go to see him if something happens. It's strange, right? So
Absolutely.
So there's this really great video on YouTube you can check out by a French cognitive scientist, and it's called How to Change Your Mind, I believe. And he says that there's these three fundamental factors that have to shift in order for our minds to change. We have to hear information that resonates with our beliefs, it has to be from a source that we trust, and it has to align to our values. And a lot of the time, when we get new information, it can backfire. There's even something called the backfire effect, where if we hear information that threatens any of these things, our beliefs, or values, we can dig our heels in and call it fake news. So it's really, really difficult if we're not listening to people and we're not trying to understand. So how do you change a mind starts with understanding how a mind works and being curious about other people's minds and your own. So let's start with what we know. Almost all of your decisions are unconscious. They come from the subconscious mind. We like to think of ourselves as rational, and probably a lot of people here are familiar with this, where humans are irrational. There's a lot of behavioral science coming up about this. Dan Heath has this analogy where you can think of your rational mind as a rider on an elephant, which are your emotions, your subconscious mind. So you think you're in control, you're riding high. That elephant sees a snake. Who do you think's gonna win in that battle? You're trying to nudge something that's equivalent of 6 tons of emotional weight, perhaps. Who do you think's gonna win out? So we have to trigger emotions. The thing is, fear is one of the strongest, probably the strongest emotion of all. We have an innately strong negativity bias. Our brains are excellent at finding negative information. And for millennia, it kept us going, it kept us alive. So right now, with all of this inundation, all this bad news from COVID, a lot of us are going into a fear state. And what happens in a fear state? We're not doing our best work, right? We get frozen, cortisol levels go up. It shuts down parts of our brain responsible for creative thinking and critical thinking. So we have to find a way to calm that down. One way of doing that is reframing. So it's the frame of mind you have, and it's something you can practice because, again, innately wired to see negative, innately wired to respond, to save your life. So you have to find a way to calm and look at perceived threats as opportunities. If I see a lion about to maul me, or Tiger Man coming, how can I see that as an opportunity? I'm going to learn something about getting in a fight, right? Shifting the mindset and how you see something. And we know that people who see opportunities instead of threats, people who see challenges come on as opportunities versus threats, are far more successful, more resilient, even smarter, because you're not spending your cognitive energy on anxiety. Oh, there we go. All right, so with that, let's jump into some exercises and get some creative juices flowing. Start with some play. So this one, very simple, fill in the blank. The zombies are coming. And instead of eating brains, they go after what? Give you 30 seconds. Someone told me their answer would be vaccines, and I thought that was pretty scary. Shall we give some response time? Mark, are we seeing comments?
Yep. Kate Rushton says the zombies are coming, and instead of eating brains, they go after toilet paper. I feel like we're creating a strategy game show here. I think that's going to be my future, by the way. Anyone who wants to collaborate, let me know. And then in the chat for Zoom here, we have some of Jocelyn's friends here. We got Soy Curls from Amin. Jess says Lily Ponds. Christian, legs. The zombies come for legs, so there's no escape. Evan says salad greens. Alex Bone in Facebook says our rubbish.
Also, some helpful zombies. All right, let's ratchet up a bit. So this might be pretty relevant right now. If there's any companies you'd want to call out, what would a company description or just a tagline say if that company were totally honest? What would a company description or tagline say if that company were totally honest?
Any company?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be very controversial by choosing this, but I was going Wells Fargo. We'll take your money. Booyakasha.
They did just have their lending cap uplifted by the government, so they will be giving more loan money.
Stuart says Amazon, buy some shit. Amin Purell, we kill stuff on your body. But maybe not as good as soap. Maybe soap's the real killer here. It's like soap, so dastardly. From Doug, restaurants eat this, trust us, come back. Alex Bone says, help us, help our shareholders. Help us, help our shareholders. It's a great tagline. It's a tagline of capitalism there.
Jerry Maguire Bank.
Christian says, Apple, it's been years since we came up with anything new. Oh.
Nice.
We have no idea what to do, really.
Okay. We're going to keep bumping these up, a little more cognitive challenges as we go. So how would you describe what you believe or what you stand for in 10 words or less?
As a sentence or a phrase, like the words need to work together?
I mean, I would say make it understandable so they're not just a series of adjectives. Like, I love brains and helping people tell better stories. Yay.
This is one of those innocent questions that if someone is deep in procrastination and existential crisis, you've triggered them like you don't even know.
Oh no. Well, call me later.
That's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, like the I know this is a bit light, but the phrase I return to often is just trying to help people who think for a living live. It's because often we suck at it, or we live.
Yep.
In the
Stuck
head.
in our heads.
It's
All right. Well, let's maybe move away from this one. Unless anyone wants to share. All right. Okay. Sell the shit. So you're in charge of selling what seems like a useless product. Some of you may have done this exercise before. It's from IDEO. So you're in charge of selling what seems like a useless product. You can choose a cardboard umbrella, spam flavored toothpaste, or you can make something up that seems totally useless. Think of 5 to 10 benefits of this useless product and sell it. Make it awesome. How would you pitch this to someone? So 5 to 10 benefits of a seemingly useless product and a headline. You can pitch it.
For those who haven't done exercises focusing on things such as functions, features, benefits, think of features as the ingredients or the attributes of the thing. Functions are what those things combine to do. Benefits are how they benefit us, how they help us. And the benefits can be emotional, they can be functional. And I know we all often see the frameworks where these things look really rigid. They're not. These are just tools for thinking. It's funny, like, because a word like benefit, sometimes I've seen plenty of strategy decks where I'm like, that's not a benefit. Like, what? So forgive me for explaining something that many of us might think is obvious. Sometimes they're not. I don't know if anyone from Korea, South Korea, or with Korean heritage is here, but spam's pretty big in Korea. There's a dish called spam surprise.
Oh man, I grew up in Hawaii. There's spam. I think we had the biggest spam consumption per capita in the world at one point.
And from what I understand, that's a war hangover, right? Because it's the food travels, spam travels and lasts.
Yeah, I think so. Any amazing shitty product pitches out there?
So Amin's got one for spam flavor. I've did spam flavored toothpaste too. Amin has spam flavored toothpaste is the key to your children's oral health. Oops, wasn't ready yet. Oh, you keep working on that, Amin. I had make your teeth taste like your meal.
Mm.
And again, for those of you who are new to things like benefits and benefit ladders, you could go, well, what's the benefit of that? And you answer it, and what's the benefit of that? And you can keep going. And obviously you're going to land somewhere with the word empowering in it. Doug says spam flavored toothpaste goes great for brushing off breakfast. Jess, bottomless shoes. We're walking here. Benefits, feel the earth, look dressed up, stronger foot muscles. Yeah, feeling the earth's a good one. Bottomless shoes, feel the ground, feel the earth, yeah. Christian, cardboard umbrella. For the short answers, easily recyclable. The only easily recyclable umbrella.
Ah.
It's funny reading out comments because everyone has a different way of writing and slightly different structures, and sometimes the brain is like, "Oh, hang on, I gotta read it," and then okay, I know what that is. That was why I was pausing there, Christian. Jayamala says you can DIY your own umbrella as the benefit of the cardboard umbrella. Brian Kim knows what I'm talking about. Spam does go well with rice, Brian. This is true. A little spam omelet. Kate Rushton, spam flavor toothpaste. Breakfast and brushing your teeth in one go. Time saving. Oh yeah, eat while you brush. Vegan repellent for the ultimate speed dating filter. Feel like you are in times of rationing. Bring back war/post-war nostalgia. Great for granddad. The taste of war.
Well, on that note.
You know, anytime I talk, you can just go, well, on that note. That'd be totally appropriate.
So, the taste of war, COVID rebrand. You've all been recruited to rebrand COVID. Your mission is to show the positive opportunities and outcomes of this situation. You must convince people this is one of the best things that's ever happened. So if you can rebrand it, you can come up with a new name if you like, come up with a tagline, maybe a quick pitch. Why is COVID awesome?
Brett says for COVID, those with lungs can now breathe. No pollution. I mean, some of the photos and videos of what's happening in nature are pretty incredible. I've only seen a couple, but I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was going to rename COVID to Covenus and tagline clean the planet. I'm not talking about cleaning the planet of humans, but obviously some of you would have thought that. It's definitely a theory out there. I think the Pope said that it's something similar but different. Won't go there.
He did. Nature's way of cleaning up.
So what's COVID's toilet paper then? I don't know if I mixed that metaphor. Does that work quite?
COVID's toilet paper.
Jess says back to school. So losing your job is the push you needed to complete that degree. Oh, so yeah, rebrand COVID as a lot of people are talking about it being a learning opportunity, but you're saying that COVID and how it's affected jobs means you get to finish that degree you didn't finish. Become a finisher. Kate Rushton says COVID, the community builder. A great way to connect with your neighbors. Just say COVID to break the ice and then have online bingo with your previously elusive neighbors. I'll keep reading these out. Is this helpful? Christian says, new name, Green Rona. Tagline, the green revolution we've been waiting for. Pitch, we've cut emissions and driven down the value of oil faster than anyone even thought was possible.
Yeah. So another way of looking at things. What can we see as an opportunity instead of a threat? So now I want to take you through, and I think this will be easiest if I do this with you, Mark. Get over here. So this is a reframing exercise. It's reframe.tv. thnk.org if you'd like to try it. It's amazing and it's super helpful tool to use, and you'll see how it works. Let's go through it. So in this case, Mark, I will nominate you to think of a situation that you'd want to change, or a belief or a behavior. So for example, it could be quarantine is stupid. That could be the statement.
Do you want to use that one? I was
Sure.
just thinking, why don't we use that one? The other one I had was like a general truth that we debate a lot in the world, but is that for me to win, you have to lose. But let's do quarantine is stupid.
And I'll probably make a lot of typos, so that'll be fun. Quarantine is stupid. Okay, so now we're going to think of 3 to 4 supporting reasons. So quarantine is stupid. Why? Why do you believe that? What makes that true?
I was born to roam free in the wilderness.
Okay, another one.
I have to wear outside clothes inside because of Zoom. A slightly serious one. I don't know what's going to come out. Let me think through this one before I actually say it. It's, I mean, only the privileged get to do it. That's stupid.
One more.
We wake up to relationship decisions we made a long time ago. Not me. I'm totally fine.
All right. So next, we see here a frame of thinking, right? Quarantine is stupid as the core belief, and these 4 tenets, and we could come up with many tenets that make that belief true in our minds. So next, we're going to take these supporting beliefs and write their opposites. I was born to roam free in the wild. What's an opposite way? What's an opposite statement?
I was born a captive. I was born captive.
Another one.
Another one. I was born to roam free and wild. I was born captive. I was never born at all.
Okay, and one more. It's asking if you could make it really extreme, really extremely opposite.
I was born to Netflix and chill.
Netflix, and there we go. You know what that means.
Yeah. Netflix and chill.
Okay, we're gonna do that same thing to each of these. So I have to wear outside clothes inside because of Zoom. What's an opposite statement?
I don't have to wear clothes.
Nice.
I have to wear inside clothes outside. I don't have to Zoom.
And let's see, we got 2 more. So only the privileged get to do it, and that's stupid. That's an opposite.
Everybody gets to do it. Nobody has to do it. Only essential workers get to do it.
And last one we got. You get to wake up to relationship decisions you made long ago.
Opposite of that one. Oh, this one's complicated. Why is this one? Why? Oh my gosh. Mental block. Wake up to. You can go to sleep to decisions you made a long time ago. You can wake up to new decisions. The uncoupling statistics are going to be staggering out of this, by the way.
Is
If
that
you
a
look at
thing?
what's no, I don't know. Wake up to relationship decisions we made a long time ago. Maybe you can wake up to relationship decisions you didn't make a long time ago. I wonder how many people are stalking old friends' Facebook pages and things like that right now with all that extra time at home.
All right. So now we go to our next step. And I'll just pick the first one. So for this one, for each of these, we're going to pick the opposite statement that's the most remarkable, the one that's outstanding, that's interesting.
The most extreme. Well, I'm never born at all would be pretty extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Evan woke up to a one-night stand recently. I'm joking. He's joking in the chat. Maybe he did. I don't know. That would be against the quarantine rules, Evan, and especially if you have a coupling relationship or a polyamorous thing. I know it's Pacific Northwest. I'm assuming everyone there's. No, I'm joking. Too much. Calm down. Calm your hormones, son. Opposite belief. Did you choose one?
I did not. So the opposite, the most extreme too, I have to wear outside because
I don't have to wear clothes.
Excellent. Okay. And the relationship decisions, your favorite one?
You can wake up to new decisions. I don't know if we nailed this one, but let's do that.
And then opposite of only privileged get to do it. Or most remarkable.
Well, everyone gets to.
Yay. Okay. So now we have 4 new supporting beliefs to make up, to ladder up to a new core belief. So if we have these 4 things to be true, what might they ladder up to? I was never born at all. I don't have to wear clothes. Everyone gets to. And you can wake up to new decisions.
Is this to reframe quarantine as stupid as the belief?
You know, what's interesting is you can, but it's also, it could be totally different. It's sort of just looking at what do these 4 tell you about a belief a person has. And if it's related to quarantine, if that's in your mind, then go for it.
Oh, I mean, the simplest one would be like quarantine rocks or something. Amin says existential awakening. It's true. Like these statements are quite libertarian or freedom oriented.
So we've gone from quarantine is stupid to existential awakening. And again, the point of this exercise is to just kind of take your mind out of a frame of thinking, start breaking it apart, start looking and examining at other statements. What else is possible? What else might be true? And you can get out of your own frame of thinking to re-examine your own, or you could start to look at other people's way of thinking. If you're having an argument or you woke up in a relationship status you didn't know about.
I've not seen this tool, but that is very similar to how a lot of us would approach writing creative briefs. You know, if stating a problem and then exploring the opposite of it. And then if that's true, what else needs to be true for that to stay true? And you kind of unpack it all and then repack it again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. I think it's a tool. Super helpful. So I would say if you guys want to take that site, I would encourage everyone to play with it, especially if you think quarantine is stupid. I don't know. If you're Netflix and chilling. All right, so go to the next couple of exercises. This is bringing it back to you and what are you doing? What are you doing here? Why are you doing it? What do you want to make possible? So there's let's start with this. Future you gets an A. So just to start thinking about yourself 12 months from now and what you want future you to be proud of. You've given yourself an A for this whole situation in the last year. Why did you give yourself that A? What did you do to earn the grade? What did you learn? What are you proud of?
Do you want to go? You can go full screen here as well. Click on the play. Yeah, this is a
Okay.
good. This is a big one. I was like, oh, because then you have to hold yourself to it.
Move this guy. Oh.
Brett Brady says survival. I take it you had the one night stand with Evan, Brett. So much comedy, so much strategy comedy. Oh gosh. Brett in the Zoom chat, Brett said, I said to never tell anyone. Playing along. Thanks, Brett. Christian says, stopped hitting snooze. Yeah, it's remarkable. A lot of people feel that they're sleeping a lot or feeling very tired and feel all the feelings about that, from guilt to surprise to, I don't know. Did you have an answer to this one, Jocelyn?
Just maintain perspective, keep reaching out to people. Allowed myself to feel all the feelings. It's okay. It's okay to feel miserable. Sometimes it's okay to sleep in. It's okay to feel like you don't know what you're doing or what your purpose is. To feel anxiety that your friends and family might get affected by this. And that's my answer is to future me is proud that I was able to maintain perspective and keep connections going. Shall we take it to the next level? Okay, so
I've got some answers from chat, actually, from Zoom. So, and Amin says, I keep wanting to call you Anime. Amin says, the art of keeping it together and that I can freely collaborate with nearly anyone if I want to. And then Brett says, patience, persistence, perspective. From there to understanding and to love. Yeah, it's funny. They're quite humble things, but they're super important. And sometimes we skip over them when life's normal. Continue, Jocelyn.
all right. So we've done one with future year going out a year. There's been a lot of studies, Stanford, UCLA, where they're looking at kids, teenagers, young adults, when they look at themselves in the future. The biggest results are seeing themselves 20 years out or more. Because at the present, especially I think when we're younger, we think of future us as some separate entity, not related to us. It's just like this imaginary stranger. The closer we can get to recognizing that future us is us, that the decisions we're making today affect future us, the more we live in alignment with what we really want. People are more likely to also make decisions, twice as likely to contribute to retirement and to act in more ethical ways. So the more you care about future you, the more you also have empathy for others. So with that, you can use this fun app to terrify yourself and look at future you and think about, what does this old woman want? What does she hope that young Jocelyn remembered and did? So now think about future you. You're 25 years older. Write a letter to future you. Tell that person about who you are today, what's important to you, and how you see your life. If you can sum it up maybe in a sentence to start, this could be a longer exercise, but we'll just give you a minute or two.
The future stuff's interesting. I've had a lot of quiet conversations, mostly with like younger people who identify as men, younger guys over the years, where a lot of people I've spoken to didn't expect to make it out of their teens and 20s. And it's like this weird thing. And I don't know if it's just the messages that some of us get exposed to through the media, or, that some of our lives are violent, or maybe like the violence is towards oneself as well. And then through the 90s, especially if you're from that era, a lot of famous musicians passed away. They didn't last long. And so this kind of future gazing thing is a really useful psychological tool. But I think for someone at that age group who doesn't expect to live that long, it's it'd be interesting to watch their faces as they're going through this exercise.
Yeah.
It's like, well, oh, 25, what? 25 years?
Yeah. It was really hard to imagine. The 20 sounded ancient, you're 10 years old, double your life.
I had a boss who was 30 once when I was 21. I was like, whoa.
Does anyone want to share anything?
Does anybody want to join the audio and share in the Zoom?
Sure. I guess I didn't really answer all the questions, but I would love to instill the important. It's almost like I'm in my head, I'm going to send a letter to my unborn son or daughter or whatever. That's what I keep doing in my head. But I guess the 25-year-old older me, he might be a new kid, who knows, in a new phase of life. So I just wrote things like the realization that human connection is everything. Don't forget it. I guess this situation has emphasized that more than ever in my life, I guess. Perhaps not cumulatively, but one experience that has. So yeah, a mere blink, says Brett Brady. Well put.
Anyone else? Future you, when are you going to talk to future you again? Hopefully more frequently. Okay, so want to end with this. Again, there's a lot of science out there about optimism, and optimism can be a really charged word for people. Some people might think it's just blindly thinking of the bright side and Pollyanna and that sort of thing. Optimism is, again, just resilience. It's the ability to see, for example, I could think of this coming on here today as I'm afraid I'm going to fuck up, or I could think of it as I'm definitely going to learn something about online sessions, about talking to Mark. It's all about framing, right? And it's a practice because, again, we have that strong negativity bias. We have confirmation bias to confirm our own beliefs. We don't like information that changes our minds. It's really, really, really tough to do that. Remember, think of that elephant. So what we can do are these little things. There's a guy named Sean Anker who wrote The Happiness Advantage. He's one of many people studying this. And he had people in extreme pain situations do these gratitude practices. Write 5 things a day that you're grateful for. And after 6 weeks, they could reduce their pain medication by 50%. I have yet to see that replicated, but it is super interesting. And we've seen it in other areas of science, how much this can affect your outlook and how you deal with stress. So in this immediate next couple of minutes, just write 5 things you're grateful for. It could be a bullet list. It could be super short. It could be looking around you. Just 5 things.
Yeah, I interviewed someone who studied a lot of of the mindfulness research, and gratitude was the main thing that most people seem to be agreeing on, and how, because of the neuroplasticity of the brain can change how it's wired over time. And gratitude is one way to kind of tap into that. I know I mentioned this book a lot, but Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning connects to a couple of these ideas too. And the main thought of that book, so if you're not familiar with it, Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychologist who went to concentration camps as a prisoner, and then he wrote about it. And this book is it's been around for a long time, but he really he makes the point that people need a sense of meaning, and they're going to make it up. And if they don't have a sense of meaning or something to look forward to, what he saw in the concentration camps is they tended not to last for various reasons. But it's having that sense of future that you're striving for, even if it's made up, because if you're making up the future anyway, it can keep us sane.
Yeah, he had such amazing quotes in there all around. And one of them was, around the point that the only thing we have a sliver of control over is how we react to a situation. We can't change necessarily the situation, and especially the people in concentration camps, people who are in ICU, all we can do is do our best to prime our mind to think about what's possible. And like you said, have something to look forward to.
And I would just say as well that, we can change how we react. We can try to change how we react to things. If you see that as a sentence, it can feel a little bit judgmental. And the way that I try to apply that to myself is like, hopefully I can change my perspective a little bit more than I used to. It's not comparing it to someone who seems to be like a professional mindfulness coach or something and is, zenned out. It's just like, am I doing it a little bit better than before? And then I have a rough day. Like I had a bit of a rough night last night, but I have a rough day and I'm like, oh, come on, let's just get back out there and kind of take some kind of gentle action and play with the perspective a little.
I mean, kindness to yourself is probably the most important thing here, right? We're all just trying to figure everything out. And I think it's a time we have where often we can push aside the fact, I think, that uncertainty is reality. Certainty is a myth, and we create it every day. And it's like, we never know what's going to happen. So try to be kind with yourself, try to be patient, try to take some time and look at your thinking and see how you can nudge it. I just had Siri talking to me. So I would say if you can implement any of these kinds of practices, if you can look around and writing down has an effect on your brain that just thinking things doesn't. So if you can write down 5 things you're grateful for, try it for 21 days. Just take 2 minutes a day and see what happens. You can also try writing a thank you email or text, super short, to someone. Try a new person every day and just see what happens. Lather, rinse, repeat. Okay. And that's all I got.
Yay.
Awesome. Thank you. They were fun. Have you run people through these exercises before?
Siri.
Hello? What's happening? Jocelyn, are you there? Hello?
Yes.
Knock, 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 knock.
Okay.
Have you run people through these exercises before?
Some variation of them. This is the first time I've done it like this in a series. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, for what it's worth, I assume I'm going to fuck up whenever I do interviews and whenever I do these things. And my perspective shift is like, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like the but is me arguing back with what actually goes on inside my head at all times. Thank you so much for sharing this with everybody. Where can people find you? You
can, jocelynbrady.com is my personal website. Scribewriters.com is our strategic narrative. And you feel free to shoot a message. I'm happy to talk to anyone for no charge, no pressure, if you just want to talk through some kind of challenge you're having or a story you need to tell. Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to end the stream here. So thank you very much. Thank you for everyone joining in Zoom. If you're in Zoom, want to hang out a couple of minutes, you're more than welcome to. I'll stay around if you'd like to. And otherwise, if you're looking at this after it's not live, which doesn't mean that it's dead, it's continuing to be live, it's continuing to live, it has a life of its own. Feel free to add your thoughts to the comments and we'll check in on it. And yeah, thank you so much, Jocelyn Brady. Thank you.
Boys. It's quite weird doing training without having like faces in front of you and sound. It's like, is
It's
it
super weird.
working? Is it working? All right.